person that we're always wanting to talk about as we come out here and discuss with people is this man here, Jesus Christ. Who is Jesus? There's probably no more important question than anyone can ever ask. Who is Jesus? Now, Jesus said this about himself: I am the way, the truth, and the life, and no one comes to the Father except through me. Now, what did Jesus mean when he said those words? Well, what he means is what he said. And what he's saying here is he is the way. He is the truth, the only truth. He is the only way to have life. And no one at all can come to God except through him. Jesus is making exclusive claims here about himself. He's saying that he is the only true way to live. He is the only truth. He's saying he's the only way to have life everlasting, and that no one can come to God except through him. Now, many people, when they hear these exclusive claims of Jesus Christ, they start to say, well, isn't that a little bit unfair? Is Jesus fair to say that he's the only way to God? But I want to say yes, Jesus is fair and right to claim that he is the only way to God. And I'm going to put up here 4 reasons why Jesus was just and fair to say he is the way, the truth, and the life, and there is no other way to God except through him. And here's the first one. The first one is that only Jesus has come from God. Now, with every other kind of man-made religion or philosophy, they kind of run in a similar way. And that is,
I'm great. How are you? You're good.
That comes across some sort of truth.
Well, we're here today. Yeah, I'm not
one
preaching
day
today. We're here.
they'll get to heaven. One
So
day
we thought we'd
they'll
like to
reach
preach.
enlightenment or get to God.
Does it?
That's the way it works. And then they tell their followers that they too need to follow that way. And so the trajectory is narrow upwards in most religions out there. But what Jesus claims is the very opposite of all the other religions of the world. So the other religious leaders were all saying that we've got a trajectory up to heaven, and if you follow them, maybe you might make it as well. Jesus said that he has come down to earth. And so he said this about himself: I came from the Father and have come into the world. Now here's why that is important. It's important that Jesus came from the Father and have come into the world. That means he is the way, because he knows the way. Now, who knows whether any of these other religious folk who claim to have the way to heaven actually made it there in the end? None of them have come back to tell us whether they did or not. But Jesus came from the Father in the first place. That means he started at the very point that every other religious leader claimed that one day they hope to get to. And who knows whether the other religious leaders of the world ever managed it or not. But Jesus said that he started there and he came into this world. He went in the opposite direction. He came from heaven to earth. And that's important because it means he knows the way. Now, if I were to ask anyone here, do you know the way to my house? Do you know where I live? People here wouldn't know the way because they've never been there. And one person might think they might know the way and another person might think they know the way. But with Jesus, he came from there. Now I know the way to my house because I came from there this afternoon. Jesus knows the way to the Father because he had always existed at the Father's side, even before he was born. Secondly, only Jesus was pure and good. Now many religious founders and leaders, many so-called holy men, actually ended up getting very wealthy from the things that they taught and their followers. And so quite rightly, a lot of people have grown very suspicious of religious leaders because they look at these people who grew very powerful and wealthy and they wonder, well, is it just that they're in it for themselves? You know, are the religious leaders just out for the money? And yet with Jesus, we know that that's not the case. Because he didn't come into this world to take. Because if he was God himself, what does God need? No, he came into this world to give. He said that he came into this world to give his life as a ransom for many. He came into this world and was born not into some sort of great palace, but was born into the poverty of a manger. That Jesus came into this world and throughout his life he had nowhere to lay his head. It was said of Jesus that the foxes of the field, they've got their holes to live in, and the birds of the air have their nests to live in, but Jesus had nowhere to lay his head. It was also said that the only thing he had when he was put to death were the clothes that he stood up in.
Right.
The only thing he possessed in this world were the clothes on his body, and the soldiers even took those at his crucifixion. And so Jesus wasn't out to gain wealth or money. He came into this world to give his life, to give everything and all that he had. So he was different to so many of the other founders of religious movements or cults or religions out there in the world. So many of them became very wealthy and rich. Which is why I say, don't look at me, don't look at any other religious leader, look at Jesus and examine his life in comparison to all these other people. But not only that, but Jesus was pure and good in that the people that knew him best believed that he was unlike any other person. Now this is important, because if you want to know the worst parts about me, don't just ask someone who vaguely knows me. You want to ask someone who knows me really well. They'd be able to tell you all my faults.
Well, I'm not Christian, so
if you ask one of my family, ask my wife or one of my brothers, they'd be able to tell you all of my character flaws and all my faults. With a lot of detail.
If you go on YouTube,
Go on YouTube.
But the
Northampton
people who
Town
knew Jesus best,
Okay.
simple as that.
Our church
And you'll
is on
see
you.
it.
Our church is on YouTube.
traveled
as
with
well.
him, ate with him, spent
All my
years
stuff in
with
there,
him.
but I'm not doing it today, so I thought I'll take these two,
Jesus was
which
a
I'm doing.
perfect man.
And I'll put those
Brother,
up.
you grew up with him.
I think you see all
To
sorts of
believe that
religious things
Jesus
on
was
there,
unlike
don't you?
anyone else and was the perfect, sinless Son of God.
Reynard Way services are on there, and when we don't get to
And was
church,
responsible
we watch them on
for
YouTube.
having Jesus tried. In his trial said this:
No, there's
I find no guilt in this man.
Okay.
But Pilate, the man responsible for putting Jesus to death, could find no guilt in Jesus. Now, could you say that about yourself? Could we say that about anyone in this world, whether they're a great religious leader or not?
Yes.
No, could we? Every other person has their faults. But these men came to believe that Jesus was pure and good, unlike anyone else. So much so
I like well done
that
sausage.
nearly all of Jesus' original followers were put to death believing and proclaiming this. Now many people are willing to die for something they believe to be true, but if they knew that it wasn't, why would they be willing to die for something they knew it was a lie? Unless they had seen and they knew that it was true, that Jesus was unlike anyone else who has ever lived.
Wasn't like other creation, was it?
Right, here's another reason why Jesus
Did it? He created them for
And that is
just multiply.
only Jesus offers us what we
We need to
really
eat the
need.
plants.
And what we really
It's
need
fascinating, isn't it?
is rescue. You see, other religions, they built this set of rules to live by, and that's normally the way that they work. Some sort of holy man stumbles across, or is given some sort of new set of rules to live by. And that if we kind of put ourselves up by our bootstraps, if we try hard enough, if we keep the rules well enough, and how well that is never really
How
that
they
well
want to
defined.
believe that before
And
they
then
believe.
maybe at the end of our lives, God might receive us. We might be able to kind of, as it were, walk the tightrope into heaven. But the problem that you and
He
I
is the
have
standard.
fallen off the tightrope. The problem you and I have is actually we all know that we haven't kept the rules. We've got a conscience which tells us about that. And when we come out here into Abington Street, we often find people who are carrying that burden of guilt around with them every day. And it's a real burden, a real terrible burden that people will often say, you know what, I can't get away from this guilt. How could God forgive a person like me? Well, the good news is that Jesus gives us what we really need. You see, the problem with just another set of rules is we can't keep them. Even the rules we can all agree on here in Abington Street. Rules like that we shouldn't hurt other people, or we shouldn't tell lies, or we shouldn't be selfish. Those rules we know we break. And this world to help and to rescue and to save, break just like you and I. Those who know we've done wrong. Those who know that we've fallen far short of God's standard of perfection in the Bible. You see, just at the right time, when we were still powerless, Christ died for the ungodly. Now that's an amazing thing. Just at the right time when we were still powerless. Now here's the issue, that we know what's right and wrong so often. We know so often when we see evil in our world, and yet we still do it. We're powerless to live the lives that we know we should. Now I'm going to kind of ask a question now. Has anyone made a New Year's resolution this year? Anyone made a New Year's resolution? It's important to do sometimes, isn't it? We try and set New Year's resolutions this sort of time of year. You want to go to the gym maybe once a week, you want to lose weight, if you want to read more, spend more time with loved ones and those sort of things. The problem is that on average, those New Year's resolutions fall apart by kind of mid-February. And that's a bit of a problem, isn't it? And this is why we need Jesus. We need him because he offers something that other religions don't. He offers rescue. Not that we have to kind of climb our way up into heaven, but that heaven has come down to earth. That's wonderful good news. Because it gives hope for people like me who know we failed. I know I've failed in my life. It's wonderful good news that while we're still powerless, Christ died for the ungodly. Notice that he died for the ungodly, not the godly or the upright or those with a perfect record or those who think they've always kept the rules. He died for the ungodly, the failures, those like me who know they've messed up in life, who know they've broken God's laws and God's commands. He died for the ungodly. That's important. He offers what no other religious person offers, rescue from our sins. But he came into this world and he died on a cross to pay the penalty that you and I deserve. That we deserve to be punished for the wrong that we've done. But Jesus died in the place of those who will have faith in him. And he pays our debts in our behalf. Now those debts come with a price, and the price is that we deserve the judgment of God. But Jesus took that upon himself. He was our scapegoat. That's a word straight out of the Bible. He was our scapegoat that we can go free. Here's a fourth reason why Jesus is the only way to God, and that he's the only one that we can follow. He's the only way we can have eternal life. That is, only Jesus rose from the dead. Only Jesus rose from the dead. Now this is really important because anyone can claim, any Tom, Dick or Harry can claim that they're the only way to God, or they've got the keys to eternal life, or the elixir of life. Now someone once said to me, if you've got one of these snake oil salesmen that says they've got, the cure for all ills, and they come to you with a limp, you can't trust them. Because they would use it on themselves, wouldn't they? And that's the point. If someone says that they've got the cure for all things, and yet they've got a limp. You know that that's not true. Now here's a test. If someone says they've got the keys to eternal life, and yet they're dead in their grave, you know they weren't telling the truth. Now, every other religious founder or founder of a world religion, you can go and find where they're buried and dead in their grave, or any other philosophy, or any other idea that mankind has ever dreamt up. Those men of old are dead in their graves. You can go and find the remains of Buddha in Sri Lanka. You can go and see the remains of Muhammad in Saudi Arabia. You can go and see the grave of Karl Marx in London. All the founders of these religions are dead and in their graves, but Jesus' grave is empty. There is no body that you can go and see. His grave is empty because 3 days after his execution and death, there was an empty grave. I'm not skeptical about that. All I say is go home and look into it yourself. I'm not going to give you any directions of where, just go home and look into it yourself. And keep looking into it. There's many skeptical people have said they don't believe any of that. How can someone come back from the dead? They've looked into it themselves, and when they've looked at all the evidence, the only thing that could explain that empty tomb was if he really did walk out of that tomb alive 3 days after he was put to death. Many skeptics who didn't believe at all, who wanted to disprove all of this, came with their skepticism and left believing. So I just say, if you're skeptical of the claim that Jesus rose from the dead, look into it yourself in your own time. You'll be surprised at the credibility of those claims. But it is important, because the empty tomb means that he is the one person that we can trust that has the keys to everlasting life. He says he's the life. We've got to be able to trust him, haven't we? Our life is the most precious thing we have, isn't it? And so we're going to trust someone with our lives. They've got to be absolutely rock solid. And so the fact that Jesus rose from the dead means that we have a new birth into a living hope through the resurrection of Jesus Christ from the dead. Now that's wonderful good news, because that means that death isn't that great mystery that no one's come back from. Now that's the one fact of life that people have always been able to rely on, that 1 in 1 people die. That the survival rate of planet Earth is 0. That no one gets off this rock called Earth alive. But one man did. Now if that really has happened, that changes everything that we think about life. If one man has come back from the other side, who are you going to trust when it comes to eternal life? If one man out of the billions and billions of people that have lived upon this earth in all history has come back from the dead, where's the one place we're going to look to when we face our own death? Surely it would be the one who came back to Jesus Christ. Now I want to give a bonus fifth reason why Jesus is not narrow-minded to say he's the only way to God. That is that actually, yes, he may be the only way to God, but it's an offer open to everyone. Whoever you are, whatever your background, whatever your nationality, whatever your past, whatever class you are, whatever colour skin you have, whoever you are, Jesus is for anyone who will receive him. This is what the Bible says about it. Yet to all who did receive him, those who believed in his name, gave the right to become children of God. That word, to all who did receive him, to all who received Jesus Christ on Abington Street this afternoon, to all who are passing by and receive Jesus Christ, is the right to become a child of God. Now, one reason why we can have confidence that God will receive us into heaven is that if you receive Jesus, you become a child of God. A child of God, that's amazing, isn't it? To be a child of the living God who created the heavens and the earth. who formed the entire universe, to be called the precious child of God by the one who has all of eternity in his hand. And so we know we can be received into heaven with confidence, because what good father would receive his own children into his own home with open arms? What loving father wouldn't gladly receive his children home? And that's what Jesus offers to you if you'll receive him this afternoon. Yes, he came from God. Yes, he was different because he was pure and good, and he can rescue us. And he rose from the dead, and he offers that free forgiveness and fellowship with God if you'll receive him today. Now I'm going to give this way a little bit of the Bible. If you like it, please come and take it. Otherwise, we hope you have a really good afternoon. If you've got any objections, please come and bring them to us. If you disagree with anything on the board or what I've said, we love it when people come and bring their objections or their questions, whatever it may be. Come and ask. We've got some literature and some bits around there. Help yourself. It's all free if you'd like to take it. Otherwise, have a wonderful afternoon.